Hi, I'm Alex, and I am on the Peaceful Warrior Immersion at the Miami Valley School, and I would like to thank Mr. Stephen K. Hayes and Mr. Norris at the Quest Center for teaching us martial arts and self-defense. Um, for me personally, I had already done quite a bit of martial arts from when I was about 5 to maybe 11 or 12, and I had gotten quite a few belts and was one away from getting my black belt, so I had some experience. But going into martial arts this time, I didn't want any of that to interfere with this because I thought, and I was correct when I thought, that it would be completely different and a whole new experience. So I'm glad that I didn't let that experience get in the way of this experience. Um, this form of martial arts was a lot different. One of the big differences was how this form was very situational. For example, you had an earth defense, you had a fire defense, you had a water defense, and a wind defense. And you could interchange any of them depending on what the situation was and what you thought would best fit, opposed to what I had previously learned about if somebody does this, you do this always, because that honestly wouldn't work in the real world. So yeah, this martial arts was definitely more applicable to my real life, not just in the sense of self-defense, but just in the way of thinking. For example, the different elements could be thought of in like many different forms of my life. I know in the dojo we personally talked about with school, and outside the dojo we talked about how they can apply to school. Maybe you've always tried this way of approaching things, however, maybe if you try to approach something in a different way, it would work a lot better. I also like to thank you. You guys taught me a lot of stuff. For example, one thing that really stuck with me was one day Mr. Norris said, self-defense doesn't start when somebody tries to punch or to hurt you. It starts from the moment you woke up. And at first I was like, that's a unique idea. And then when I got home, for some reason that sentence just stuck with me. And he said that maybe in the second week, and I still remember it to this day. But that really just rung a bell with me, maybe because, if you honestly wanted to, you could not even have to ever use self-defense. You could just completely avoid situations in their entirety, maybe by not going somewhere that you may have to use the self-defense, or just being so aware that you can tell that something might happen and just avoid it altogether. So that was something that really I felt connected with for some reason. And there are many other things. One was, and I think we did this in week 1, when somebody grabs you, we did something where you punch the back of their hand, and Mr. Norris said something along the lines of, Mr. Norris and Mr. Squire said something along the lines of, they think they're in control, they're grabbing you, possibly they've grabbed other people, and they, think you're either going to try rip out of it and run away, or maybe try to punch them, and they're ready for that. But what you want to do is, they think they're in control until the very last second when you punch them in the hand, and they probably have no idea this is coming. Another example where you said this was with the pushes, and when you would throw someone, they think they're in control, they're pushing you back until the very last second where you pull against their push and you're able to, push them down. And that related to something we read in the Peaceful Warrior book, which was, if you're pushed, pull, if you're pulled, push. So that's sort of taking what they give you and using it against them. They think they're in control and winning, and then all of a sudden they're completely at a disadvantage and you're winning. So that was just another idea that you could apply to a lot of places. We again applied this to school, using what they give you and kind of turning the table and flipping it to your advantage. So at the very end, I was I felt very proud of myself. I remember at the very beginning we had the simple task to get our white belt of saying, I believe in myself, and truly meaning it. And, and you hear it, it's not that difficult, but once you actually do it, it's actually pretty challenging. And that was one of the things that struck with me, because by the end, when we went up to get our yellow belt, I couldn't help but I had a big smile on my face, and I felt extremely proud of myself. And I think it kind of went back to that thing when we got our white belts of saying, I believe in myself, and all the growth in between, where, I think I actually did believe in myself, and I was able to, grow a lot, and I was rewarded with my yellow and white belt. So thank you, Mr. Stephen K. Hayes and Mr. Norris. You guys taught me a whole lot, not just in martial arts and self-defense, but in life. Thank you. Bye.